Hello, hello! Today I will be tackling a rather different type of ship than I usually play. I'm probably more known for my DD and cruiser play, maybe being a retardedly aggressive player in battleships as well. But I do play all the ships, and I feel like it's time to bring up the Midway, because I'm pretty sure I haven't ever even made a commentary on this ship. The Midway was notorious for being the most overpowered CV in the entire game before recent patches. It was absolutely brutal. It dominated all the damage stats. I think like all the records in highest damage done, I think like out of the top 10, 8 or 9 were midways. Like everyone who had those really high damages, averages and maxes were all midway players because it did such an amazing amount of damage. Now it got significantly nerfed to the point that the Hakuryu is now the stronger CV by far. But that doesn't mean that the game is strictly over for the Midway. I feel like people have exaggerated the situation quite a bit. In this game I end up against the Midway that is using a build that I no longer like that much. He's using the 2-1-2 build, and I'm not a fan of it because he's essentially trying... It's the build you take when you try to fight a Hakuryu on equal ground, but the Hakuryu really has all the advantages, so there's no point. I'm just sending a strafe. That guy is going to be my decoy. I'm hoping these fighters will engage my fighters. Are they engaging him? Nice, they're wasting their ammo, they're wasting their time on him, and I'm going to go for the Midway itself. That's right, I'm sniping the enemy CV. This is probably something you haven't seen in a while, because of the introduction of defensive AA. People have kind of stopped sniping, but sniping the enemy CV is actually something the Midway is exceptionally good at. Okay, this guy isn't paying attention. Oh, I should have manual dropped, I didn't realize he wasn't paying attention. Okay, you can see bombers do insane amounts of damage. Carrier go move full speed. I like that he's telling me what to do, but okay, this guy isn't reacting at all in time. That was a bad drop. I expected him to be moving faster than he was. He repaired instantly, so now I send my bomber in. Okay, this is turning out to be the not best example because this guy isn't... Okay, now he finally popped his defensive AA, so I can show you this thing. You see how wide the spread becomes when he pops defensive AA? In the patch notes they mentioned that American bombers don't suffer as much spread. So even though he popped his defensive AA, I was still able to hit him with bombs and set him on fire. And that was kind of the point I was trying to make here. With this 1-1-3 build, you can actually snipe enemy CVs even if they pop defensive AA, because the spread on the bombers isn't large enough to fully negate the damage. So all you need to do is force them to blow that repair and set them on fire again, and they should die. Now here I actually assumed he would die, but turns out later on, that he actually will survive this with a total of 200 HP. Literally one more fire tick was what I needed, so he's actually going to survive this, which is a bit unfortunate, but I guess it will add some challenge to have the enemy CV still alive so it doesn't become total seal clubbing, or well, clubbing, because the Midway, once you actually get rid of the enemy CV with this strike spec, the whole idea of this strategy is basically getting rid of the enemy CV. Just like in the olden times you used to strike enemy CVs, the same tactic is here, is what I use here with 1-1-3 spec. Once you've gotten rid of the enemy CV, or in this case, well, I basically made him shit his pants. You saw how little HP he has. He has to basically keep his fighters very near, or at least one fighter at all times he has to keep near his own CV, because all it takes would be one of my bombers to get past, to get close to him, and he would get absolutely wrecked. So he's obviously shitting the bed back there, and he's afraid of committing both his fighters to anything. You can see I made sure to engage his fighter up close to the Yamato, so I get the benefit of the Yamato AA. He doesn't want to send his other fighter in because he's afraid of the same thing happening again, meaning both his fighters being occupied and then I go in and delete him. So I'm just going to destroy that squad, and he pulled the other fighter squad back because he doesn't know where my planes are. And that's kind of the thing that you introduce by adding this, by using this strike spec. You introduce back the fear. These high tier CVs have gotten so lazy and so used to not having to worry about being struck at, being sniped, that they have completely forgot what it's like to actually have a CV that can snipe you. So that forcing them out of their comfort zone and forcing them on the defensive is basically what you bring to the table with this build. And it's surprisingly effective, even against Hakuryus, which outmatch Midways quite a bit. You saw, by the way, 14k bomb hit. You have huge damage potential with this build. Of course, you're unlikely going to do as much damage as a struck Hakuryu. I play my Hakuryu with the 2-3-3 build, and the damage potential is absolutely insane. But I feel like when people imply that the Midway is somehow completely dead and buried, they're exaggerating. It's not that bad. I mean, yes, it's lost potency, but it's still, next to the Hakuryu, it's still my second highest damage dealer in the entire game. I'm making sure that his repair was on cooldown before I go in for the strike. Unfortunately, I only got one fire. I manual dropped him. When you manual drop with these bombs, they pretty much perfectly surround a battleship. That's why I mostly go for battleships as the target, because you get such huge damage numbers on them, and of course you get fires and flooding, and fires and flooding deal percentage damage based on the max health. So that's obviously why you deal such huge damage to high health targets. I'm gonna set another fire on him. Oh, that was a bit sideways. Whatever, I got my second target. My second fire after he's blew his repair, so he's gonna suffer 2 full fires here. If he doesn't die, I'll come back and finish the job later, but it's unlikely he'll survive. I'll keep spotting this Benson around here, since he's hunting my Shimakaze. We're quite behind in points, as you can see, 290 to, well, the Iowa died, but we were 290, 650, now we're 300 to 600 about. But I have pretty much free reigns now, because I have forced the enemy Midway to completely on the defensive. He can't, basically, if he sends out both of his fighter squads, he risks just one single of my bomber squads getting past and instantly killing him. So he has to play extremely defensively. So even if I didn't kill him with my first strike, I effectively neutered him, which also works. Yes, Yamato has managed to ground himself, so I'm obviously gonna go for him. Yamato is another perfect target for a Midway. Same as Montana, they don't have enough AA to shoot down your planes, and you can stack dots on them, aka fires and flooding, and deal massive damage. So obviously they're gonna be the main target. Okay, the Ataga is coming in, and this Yamato is turning towards, so I'm just gonna go in now. I don't want to lose going around and trying to get the perfect hit. Those fighter squads might spread my torpedoes out, the Ataga might pop defensive AA, so I just drop now. I know where he's turning anyway, so I can secure at least a couple hits here. I secured 2 hits, managed to get flooding, that's good. I don't know if he instantly repaired or not, but I'm gonna force the repair with this bomb squad anyway. 12k damage, and a fire. Unfortunately only one fire, but still I'll take it. I'm pretty sure he instantly repaired when he got that flooding, so that's why that fire didn't get repaired now. So I'm instantly gonna go in with the second squad and bomb him again. I already got Wither, which is 60,000 dot damage done, because of all the burning damage I did to Midway, all the burning damage I did to the Iowa. And I'm basically forcing this Yamato away. Another 14k hit and another fire. So he's got 2 unrepairable fires, and half his HP is already gone, and he has to flee. So this is the strongest battleship in the game, and this is how easily you can still, in a Midway, just absolutely dismantle him and force him away. Of course, at the same time, I've also constantly been spotting the Shimakaze, who probably hates it, because spotting a DD means you spot his torpedoes, you can see the torpedoes top left screen. I spotted those ages ago, so he's not gonna hit anything with his torps either, so he obviously hates me. Has he repaired? No, he's still taking down some damage at least. I don't know if his repair is up or not, but once again, I might as well force it. Because forcing a repair is not just, oh, 3 fires, Jesus, he has to repair. Yeah, he instantly, that's the best case scenario, basically. All the bombs proc fire. You might see that my fighter up there has been constantly spotting that Benson as well, which obviously DDs hate being perma-spotted. I don't know if you noticed it, but I've just been sending that plane around after that Benson to prevent him from getting past them and basically flanking me. And I moved so that if you look at the minimap, there's basically a fleet between me and all my opponents. That's an important thing as well. You should never sit still on your CV. You should always be moving with your fleet so that you are in the safest possible spot, especially on a midway, because midway concealment is abysmal. Now that Yamato should be dead, I'm ignoring now because I forced his repair and there was a bunch of cruisers there, so I'm expecting them to burn him down, but apparently he managed to still kill a Des Moines. Ooh, I gotta get just perfectly on the edge here. I can't even see my torps. Where are my torps? Oh, it activated just before and I got a flooding. That was a bit weird. I don't know what happened to the other 2 torps. I didn't even see the torp actually, looking invisible. Wouldn't surprise me if there's still some CV bugs around. I mean, CV are probably the buggiest chips. The UI can be very frustrating at times because of all the glitches and stuff. Oh, that's not a perfect drop. But I got 2 fires, so I'll take it. Oh, sadly he's gonna eat torps though. I would have gotten a ton of damage from these unrepairable fires, but he's eaten Shimakaze torps, so he's guaranteed dead. Now the lead they had has basically evaporated because, well, both the Shimakaze and the Benson have been neutralized by my planes. For the fighter squad spotted the Benson until he got killed, and I have had bombers flying over the Shima all the time, and now we even have a fighter idling on top. So the Shima hasn't been able to do anything, the Benson couldn't do anything, the Yamato got wrecked and scared away, that Iowa got wrecked, and I mean, it's just complete power of the battlefield basically. I'm gonna see if I could get a good drop on this Atago. Nah, 7k, not the optimal. You were just, unlike the Hakuryu, which is very good at striking both DDs and cruisers, the Midway is infinitely better at purely going for battleships. That's kind of the thing you have to go for in a Midway, because those bombs, they spread out so much. You have the advantage of basically being able to ignore defensive AA, because you can still strike through it and do significant damage, but the trade-off is that you are very, very inefficient at striking DDs. Okay, here, let's see if I'm gonna, oh, I want this plane to turn around. Oh, whoops, that was unfortunate. I didn't actually mean to strike there. I was gonna correct it. You saw the second spot I was correcting for. I was gonna correct it, but it went through before I could correct it, and you can't like cancel the order once it's given, so that was unfortunate. And those torps are gonna miss, but I'm still spotting him, so he should die to the fact that I'm perma-spotting him. My fighter has been here like the entire time spotting him, so even if I don't get the kill, he will still die no matter what. That was unfortunate. That was a pretty bad drop by me. I'm so used to cross-dropping on the Hakuryu that actually getting hits with just one squad, it's turning surprisingly difficult, especially since you have a longer activation time, so you have to drop from further away. I don't play nearly enough Midway to be that proficient at striking DDs with those torp squads. I think I've only, like in the last couple of months, I played maybe 3 games of Midway, because it's not particularly my style of ship, but I still feel that I feel like they over-nerfed it, but I feel like the people who are saying the ship is completely over and done with are also exaggerating, because it still has significant defensive power. But this is one of the things I highly dislike. You might have seen I did 244k damage. I only got 350k credits, and look at my score. I'm pretty sure those Montanas and the Des Moines and the Amagi, I doubt they did over 244k damage, but they have nerfed the XP gain to such a drastic amount. You can see the targets I attacked: Yamato, Iowa, Midway, Iowa, Atago. and I did huge damage to the T10 ships and the Iovas, but still the rewards I get are very, very underwhelming. You can see after repairs and everything, even though I didn't take any damage, after repairs I only actually make 190k credits. So I feel like they've gone a bit overboard with this whole nerfing of experience and nerfing of credits that you get from a win. Anyway, moving on. Right, as usual, let's start with the modules. I prefer using the strike module, meaning 113, because I feel like if you go with the default is just, honestly, 212 is, you kind of try to go for air superiority and you give up strike power, but if you actually face an air superiority Hakuryu, then he's still gonna be able to beat you in both fighter power and in striking power. So this is kind of like the trying to be a Hakuryu but not being able to spec. And this one is basically, well, with this one you will guaranteed get that air superiority, but your damage will be pretty abysmal because you're relying on 2 bomb squads to do anything, and sadly shooting down planes gives very little actual XP or credits or basically anything. I mean, it might be nice for the team, but you're gonna have a very boring time and you're not gonna get much out of it. And this, the thing with the strike build is, of course, as I showed there, that you can strike on the enemy even if he pops his defensive AA. Now, here it's very straightforward. You upgrade your stuff. I usually, when you go for the strike build, you obviously want to upgrade your bombers first, because let's face it, you have 3 of those and 1 of the others. What you upgrade next is up to you. I went torpedo and then fighter, because let's face it, you only have 1 fighter, and most of the time he's going to be a decoy more than anything else. Upgrade wise, 10% average damage to your guns, to your aircraft guns. You only have 1 squad, but once again this one is pretty useless. Second one, flight control mod, -10 to aircraft servicing time. This one is fairly useless because you only have 1 fighter. The other ones are fairly useless as well, and you have a very, very long cooldown when you land and take off again, so this one gives you a lot more fighting power. This is straightforward. You want air grips mod 3. You take this on pretty much every CV. It doesn't matter what CV. If you can get it, you get it, because it's so much better than anything else. I mean, 5% maximum aircraft speed compared to 15% HP. What it means when it says attack aircraft, it means both your torpedo squads and your bombers both gain that massive 15% HP. So it's by far the absolute best upgrade to get. Damage control, you want to reduce the chance of being set on fire so your planes can take off. Damage control system, I prefer this one because it's a flat out reduction in flooding and fire, the 2 things that you will be suffering from the most as a CV. I mean, you can get steering gears, but really your turning circle is 1.23 kilometers. It doesn't matter how fast your rudder shift is, you're still gonna turn like a fucking, I don't even know what to call it, like a fucking aircraft carrier basically. So there's literally little point in attempting to change this. Just go for more survivability. And last but not least, of course, stealth, because target acquisition is absolutely useless, whereas you need the stealth because your concealment is abysmal. Let's see, consumable wise, I prefer using, I highly recommend using the premium repair, because well, having to blow your repair while under fire and then having to wait 90 seconds for another repair, that's just asking to be sniped. And I prefer this one as well, but this isn't really that necessary. I very rarely use it these days. The only reason I use it now is because I have the money to spend. So captain perks wise, first perk is obviously going to be situation awareness. You need to know if a DD has snuck in past the lines. You need to know if you're spotted by planes, since it gives you ample warning that the strike is coming your way. Try to get basics of survivability as fast as possible, because this 50% to fire and flooding recovery is amazing, and it stacks with the module upgrade, so definitely try to get it as soon as possible. This is one of the most underrated perks for CV players. For some reason they rarely take it. 2-pointer, you need faster reloading of torpedo bombers. I mean, you only have 1, but the other perks are pretty much useless. Torpedo acceleration, once again, you only have 1, but the other ones are fairly useless. I mean, what are you going to do with this dogfighting expert? Absolutely nothing. The only one even remotely useful might be high alert, but still, you just want more damage as a midway, because that's what you struggle with quite a bit. Fourth perk, aircraft servicing expert, pretty straightforward. It's a great perk, and of course air supremacy. And now when you start to get to the 17 points, then you can get basic firing training. Once again, this one is fairly useless because the self-defense damage is very small to begin with. It's better to buff your own AA than it is to buff this. Also you buff your secondaries, which is good if a DD is rushing you. And last but not least, I might as well take a look at the flags, since you actually get quite some nice perks out of the flags, especially this one, India Yankee. I tend to save this one for battleships and CVs. Minus 20% reduction in the time you're on fire. And this one is superbly easy to farm, the fireproof one. Basically all you need to do is play a game in a battleship and you probably end up getting it. So that's definitely one of my favorite flags to use on a CV. Anyway, that was my Midway commentary. I hope you enjoyed it.